Thank you. Is my mic turned on? Yep. I know I'm turned on. What? While they were singing that song, I had a flashback memory of when I was about 14, and I was thinking, I think I'd like to be a minister. But at that time, they didn't ordain women. And now here I am. It was what I came for, you know? Well, I have a story that, wait, how come it's too loud? Is it me?
Are you going to need to move around? No, I'm not trying to help.
Not a lot.
Are you going to be moving around?
Not a lot.
Solo use the other mic.
Okay. Hello, this one. Hello. Hello. My daughter's laughing at me. Okay, so is this good? Yeah. Well, I have a story that not a lot of you in this room can share because I had two mothers. I had one who brought me in and lost me, and I had one who found me. And so I was thinking about what motherhood can be and what it is, and, you know, it's more complicated than you'd think, especially if you're trying to make up a talk about it. So, well, the Mother's Day that we celebrate today is kind of a recent development, but the basic idea goes back to ancient mythology, to the Greeks and the Romans. The Greeks paid annual homage to Sibylla, the mother figure of their gods, and the Romans dedicated an annual spring festival to the mother of their gods. So in mythology, archetypal mothers are often linked to the idea of the Great Mother, and the Great Mother deities such as Gaia and Mother Earth. And this is probably all familiar to you. In this archetype, the mother nurtures not just the child, but all of creation or certain elements of nature. This kind of care is always given to a female deity. The first Greek god was actually a goddess. I'm just saying. She's Gaia, or Mother Earth, who created herself out of primordial chaos. Feels like what we're doing too, doesn't it? Anyway, from her fertile womb all life sprang, and unto Mother Earth all living things must return after their allotted span of life is over. A mother goddess is a goddess who represents or is a personification of nature, motherhood, fertility, creation, destruction, or who embodies the bounty of the earth. Okay. Gaia, as Mother Earth, personifies the entire ecosystem of planet Earth. Mother Nature is always working to achieve and maintain harmony, wholeness, and balance within the environment. Mother Nature heals, nurtures, and supports all life on this planet, and ultimately all life and health depend on her. In time, nature heals all ills. I've been fortunate enough to move to Trails West, and they have a dog park. And every day I get to take my Doxy down to the park. And they have trees and grass, and the dog runs around and wrestles with other dogs and everything. And I look at the trees and the sky and find peace, you know? You don't have to get very far, just get close to something green, you know? And you get that feeling. This makes me think of the Native Americans. One idea that runs through Native American spiritual beliefs is the belief that Mother Earth is spirituality. The Native Americans feel that the earth is our mother, the sky is our father, and all things are interconnected. Our Mother Earth is the source of all life, whether it be the plants, the two-legged, the four-legged, the winged ones, or human beings. Mother Earth is the greatest teacher if we listen, observe, and respect her. When we live in harmony with the Mother Earth, I'm quoting here, she will recycle the things we consume and make them available to our children and to their children. We must teach our children how to care for the earth so it's there for the future generations. And so the Native Americans didn't, I don't mean any disrespect, they didn't need to study Ernest Holmes or Charles Fillmore or any of those guys. They just knew, didn't they? The earth is here for the future generations. In modern times, and here we get a little technical, in modern time, an archetype, and I love archetype stuff, but anyway, it's a representative model, a universal example of something. Psychologists Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud, in particular, have written extensively, or wrote extensively, on how humans create their own archetypes of the mother. Now, here's where it gets kind of tricky. There are frequently seen as elements of the collective unconscious in an archetype. It's like an idea that's brought up in every culture, in every country in the world throughout time. So it's pretty powerful, the whole idea of an archetype. Anyway, I lose my place here. This creates characters that are similar to epitomes and stereotypes, okay? Each is given characteristics that fulfill those needs, even if the real person is quite different. But I'm not sure the real people are all that different. The mother archetype is basically an idealized or invented version of a mother that in most cases is meant to be more or less universal. Archetypes generally serve as composites or standardized templates of what a certain role or identity or conversely it should be. When it comes to mothers, they're usually divided into several categories, each with heightened or enhanced attributes. The archetypal nurturer, for instance, might display all the best elements of caring and selflessness, whereas a depiction of a mother who abandons her child would probably have exaggerated flaws and complexes. The mother archetype is an idealized version of the mother, which means that it usually represents what humans want in a mother, just as other archetypes represent values such as the hero or the villain. There are many elements that represent the different aspects of being a mother, but some characteristics are more or less consistent. In most cases, these figures are seen as persistent, stubborn, caring, and patient. I'm looking at my daughter, just so you know. There's always an intense bond between mother and child. The familiar Cinderella fairy tale, and I hadn't thought of this, but this is really neat, represents two mother archetypes, the wicked stepmother and the fairy godmother. See, so that's kind of cool. The wicked stepmother represents a woman who is not the rightful mother, but is also not a nurturer of the child. It is a projection of neglect and a loss of a true mother in the child. The fairy godmother, by contrast, is a projection of a more benign and caring figure. Okay. Putting all that aside, though, if in no other way we can think of our mothers as the women who allowed their bodies to be the conduits for our entry into this life. I had one birth mother, one adopted mother, one mentor, a grandmother, and my spiritual teacher, all of whom exhibited in one way or another the archetypes described by Freud and Jung. And believe me, they exhibited all the characteristics described in psychology and mythology. My birth mother gave me away. Actually, she just abandoned me. And my adoptive mother found me. So I was once lost and then I was found. You know, what I figured out was that my birth mother brought me in so I could learn the thing I came to learn, and my adoptive mother helped me learn it. I just figured this out not too long ago. It was like, wow. So, what's a mother? In the story in the Sun News on April 29th was a story of a man, Santiago Turrieta, and his daughter Mira Angel Turrieta. Santiago was a one-time gang member and was an armed robber who had done decades in prison and 5 years in solitary confinement. He had been given up by his teen mother at birth and was a victim of child abuse. He started using drugs at the age of 10, dropped out of high school in 9th grade, and ended up in juvenile lockup when he was 15. Out of prison for good, he hoped, he was still stealing to buy dope for himself and his new girlfriend. But the next chapter proved to be the cycle interrupter. His girlfriend became pregnant. When the baby, Mira, was born, Santiago looked into the eyes of his tiny daughter, and something in him shifted. She changed everything, he says. After a long struggle to give up heroin and going to many parenting classes, Santiago is drug-free, and the little girl lives at home with him. He says he hasn't figured it all out, but he's working at it every day. As he celebrates Maya's second year as her full-time dad, he's proud of where he's come from. And he says, I hope that somewhere a father that has walked along the same path of being in drugs, gangs, and prison is stuck with a child someday. I hope somewhere a father can learn and not throw in the towel and can think, if this guy can do it, so can I. So it seems to me that every one of us can be a mother to everyone else. You don't have to be a woman to mother somebody. You don't have to be a woman or a birth mother or even a grandmother to express those protecting, affectionate, kind feelings to everyone you meet. Simply being helpful in small ways can make a difference for someone else. Being affectionate by a pat on the back or a good old bear hug can be a loving gesture. Giving wise advice when it is asked, not before, can help someone make a difficult decision. Saying you care when the other person is suffering from a broken heart or a broken arm, or saying you can relate to someone else's pain, can make a huge difference for them. You never know when that turning point for somebody's going to be. You just think you patted them on the back, and all of a sudden, that was the cycle interrupter. Sometimes just sitting in silence with someone can be a profoundly nurturing thing to do. My dad was a lovely, gentle man, my adoptive dad. He ascribed to the philosophy that 'tis better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. But when he did say something, you really wanted to listen, you know. And a friend of ours used to come and visit and everything, and he told my dad one time, "You're the only person I know with whom I can sit in companionable silence." You know, you think about that, boy, that's so rich, you know. So now, here's the crux of this thing. Keeping it with this month's theme of coming home in spirit, perhaps the most important mothering of all is that which we do to ourselves. To feel that we've come home to the perfect place, whether it's the home where you grew up or only the home you wish you'd had as a child, is to come home to the realization that you're the place you've been looking for. Isn't that something? That is so powerful. You're the home you've been looking for. Man, I didn't figure that out till about Okay, I'm going to tell you the truth. December last year, okay? But to realize that that shifted everything for me. What you are, what we are, what I am, is a unique being. See, that's what we forget. You will never be duplicated in all of eternity. You have access to the creative energy of the universe within your thoughts alone. You don't have to be gorgeous, you don't have to be strong, you don't have to be the right whatever, you don't have to be rich, anything. With your own mind, you have access to the collective creative energy of the universe. I mean, we don't even know what we are, you know? The realization that home is within you is one of the most powerful, nurturing, loving things you can do for yourself. Where you've been wandering or where you've lost yourself or how close you've come to annihilation, doesn't matter. Just like that gentleman Santiago, it doesn't matter where you've been. And if you're like me, you've been in some really, I want to use the word stupid, but I don't know that I should apply that to everybody else. But anyway, think about where you've been in your life, the path that you've been on. Man, but it doesn't matter. See, that's what's so amazing. It's like she was saying about this moment. This moment is what counts. What happened yesterday or 10 years ago or whatever, it's gone. What prison of hopelessness you've been in, what really bad things you've done, or even just how dumb you've been, doesn't matter. It just doesn't count. How beautiful or ugly or rich or poor, or how smart or slow you are, none of that matters. And see, we're talking about a whole mainstream of culture that says that what I'm saying is not true, But we are learning that it is true. Okay, think about our study. The Hope Diamond, okay? Like, how much is the Hope Diamond worth? The gold fields of the Klondike. A Fabergé egg. A gold-plated Bugatti. I saw one time. Or a Picasso's $104 million Garçon à la Pipe painting. They're not even in the same universe as we are. I mean, if you owned the Bugatti, that'd be pretty cool. If you were a young guy, it wouldn't matter what you looked like, But anyway, in your essence, you are the most priceless thing that anyone can compare you to. See, we don't think about ourselves like that, do we? I'm priceless. You are priceless. So, to sum it up, only when we move through life in the spirit of love for all beings, including ourselves, can we melt the barriers that separate us from others and from ourselves. We belong here on earth, and our spirits are free to explore the universe, but our true home is the spirit within us. To love ourselves is the perfect mothering and the perfect way to find our place home. Namaste.